crossed now to the League Cup final between Chelsea and Middlesbrough.
And you'll be astonished maybe to see him leading the team out, but not in playing strip. He's in his suit, and we're all a bit surprised that Vialli's not even named among the substitutes.
Well, I think we are, yes, but you know, he said in his interviews yesterday that the most important thing for this game was that he put a team out on the field, and the substitutes alongside that were a squad that could win this trophy, and he obviously feels that Andre Flo is a better substitute than himself at this present moment in time.
There's the thumbs up, and here they come, Chelsea and Middlesbrough. And it's only a little over 10 months, of course, since they were making the same walk. And what an explosive atmosphere for this Coca-Cola Cup final. Referee Peter Jones, head bowed for the moment, leads these teams out. When Middlesbrough last stepped out here, of course, they'd just been relegated from the Premier League, and despite the presence of world-famous stars like Ravanelli, Juninho, Emerson, they couldn't lift themselves out of the depression and almost inevitably fell to defeat. The Chelsea fans roared their team to a 2-0 triumph that day. Vialli making a cameo appearance, no more than that, as a substitute for 2 minutes. And Paul Gascoigne has been named among Middlesbrough substitutes. That was a major decision for Brian Robson to make. More of the team news in a moment or two. But Ray, it is an entirely different occasion to the one here 10 months ago. Just the atmosphere at the Riverside Stadium is totally different.
Yes, obviously this time last year they were fighting for their lives and to stay in the Premiership. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to do that. But you know, Brian Robson has done a marvellous job in terms of building them up again, getting them ready for the fresh challenge of the nationwide Division 1. They're up there with a great chance of getting out of it, and they'll come here with a lot more confidence than they did do last season against Leicester City.
Yes, let's not forget, of course, that Middlesbrough contested the Coca-Cola Cup final as well last season. It was an amazing season for them. What a campaign.
Yes, it's, you know, we see Brian Robson there acknowledging the fans who's walking around. He's done a very nice thing as well there. He's allowed John Pickering, his coach, to actually lead the team out, you know, because John has certainly done a lot on the coaching side to help Middlesbrough be in the position they are at the moment.
The two teams being presented there to Jack Straw, the Home Secretary, and to David Sheepshanks from the Football League, the Nationwide League. Nigel Pearson, he's done it all before, of course. A very proud captain, Nigel Pearson. And he's, of course, been here with Sheffield Wednesday as well as Middlesbrough. Yes, but unfortunately, I don't think he's actually been on a winning side here yet. So this is, you know, yet another chance in what's been a great career for him. He's a tremendous pro, but a chance yet again to actually go up those steps and pick up a trophy rather than a loser's medal. And John Pickering on the end there, the assistant manager of Middlesbrough. They've got some famous names on the coaching staff up there, like Gordon McQueen as well, who looks after the youth setup. And now the Home Secretary walks across to Chelsea to shake the hand of Dennis Wise, who's just taller than the mascot. And two mascots. And along the line they go with Ed de Hoy, the Dutch goalkeeper. And amazing to think that Chelsea have had a Russian goalkeeper, a Norwegian goalkeeper, and they're a Romanian, Dan Petrescu, the first Romanian ever to win an FA Cup winners' medal. Frenchman Frank Leboeuf. It's truly international occasion. A Channel Islander there, of course, in Graham Lasso.
Yes, it's good. The more and more you see the Premiership now, the more difficult it's becoming to see English players. There are so many foreign imports now, but of course they have enhanced our game. They have made it better, and hopefully English players can learn off the likes of Zola and Petrescu and people like that, who are tremendous professionals. And there's a very, very proud man, isn't it? What a great start to his managerial career.
Yes, absolutely. Gianluca Vialli, having taken over from Ruud Gullit, is an entirely different personality. He's said to be very, very popular with the players, and hearing him talk before this game, he has stressed the importance of Chelsea winning the trophy, putting aside his own personal preference for maybe playing in the match. But as Ray Clements said a moment or two ago, he's decided to start today with Gianfranco Zola and Mark Hughes, and to have Andre Flo in reserve. In a moment, the teams will stand for the national anthem, and then we will give you the full team lineups. But now the crowd will stand for the national anthems. Sung it was too, and I was talking about an international occasion, and there are so many players to watch out for today. You know, we've been talking about Gascoigne there, and the likes of Paul Merson, who really has come back into the England fold as well. And of course Chelsea are now just two steps away from the European Cup Winners' Cup final, with a semi-final against Vicente to come, but they'll be hoping to secure an alternative route to Europe today. Well, to the surprise of most of us, as I said, Vialli hasn't even named himself as one of the three substitutes allowed in this competition. He's gone for a front pairing of Mark Hughes and Gianfranco Zola, leaving Torre-Andre Flo as a potential replacement. And with Steve Clarke also omitted, Frank Sinclair gets a starting place in the back four, and Eddie Newton, scorer of his only goal in 2 seasons in that cup final triumph, starts in midfield. Well, Brian Robson's major decisions were whether or not to include Paul Gascoigne from the start. Well, he's opted to keep Gazza out of the action to begin with and keep him in reserve. Gascoigne, of course, says he's only 70% fit. But the Colombian Hamilton Ricard, who only made his debut a week ago, does start in an attacking formation that also features Paul Merson and the Italian Marco Branca. Ray, are you surprised that Gascoigne is on the bench to begin with?
No, I'm not really, because I think, you know, Brian Robson has had 2 or 3 days to have a look at Gazza's fitness. He'll obviously have discussed it with him, and because he's only played he played 20 minutes or so last week, he's done very, very little match practice in this last 8 weeks, 10 weeks. So I think it would be taking a risk to actually starting in this game. But obviously, you know, his fitness is at a level that if he had to come on for half an hour towards the end, he can still have a big influence on the game, and it's not a bad substitute to have, is it, Gazza?
No, not bad at all. Both sides we expect to line up 4-4-2, and let's now have a look at the way the two sides have battled their way through to the final. Chelsea were exempted from the second round because of European commitments. They needed penalties to overcome Blackburn Rovers. They prevailed by the odd goal in 3 against Southampton, required steady nerves to win another penalty shootout against Ipswich, and then secured their place with a 2-legged triumph over Arsenal, the second leg win achieved in Vialli's first game in charge. Well, Middlesbrough, if anything, have trodden a more impressive route on their path to Wembley, seeing off 3rd Division Barnet and Sunderland without conceding a goal at all. Then Bolton Wanderers, then Reading, and finally, and most convincing of all, of course, Premier League Liverpool. So really, Middlesbrough are of Premier League quality and pedigree. There's no doubt about that. When we look at the likes of Paul Merson here, who really has established himself back in the England fold, as you know, only too well, and got a goal in Switzerland.
Yes, I mean, you know, Paul Merson's transformation has been fantastic, and he's had a massive influence on the success of Middlesbrough this season, and he really is influential throughout the team. You know, he'll go back and help defensively if need be, but he finds holes on the pitch and they get the ball to him, and he's such a wonderful passer of the ball. He picks out runs of the front two, and also he's capable of scoring goals, as he has done this year. So it'll be very interesting to see how Chelsea try and cope with Merson playing off a front two of Branca and Ricard.
We got a glimpse there of Paul Gascoigne, and just one wonders if his mind will go back to that fateful day in 1991 when he played here in the FA Cup final, his last appearance in an English domestic game, and of course he was taken away with that dreadful injury which necessitated surgery. There's Roberto Di Matteo, and of course he put his mark on the FA Cup final less than 12 months ago with a goal inside for 30 seconds.
A great goal as well, wasn't it? I mean, it looped over the top of Ben Robertson, the Middlesbrough goal, but it was not down to him. It was a tremendous strike from Di Matteo, and he'll certainly have memories of that and be looking forward to scoring or attempting to score a goal like that this afternoon.
And Ray, what about Gazza and that memory from 1991? He firmly got to put it out of his mind, surely.
I would have thought so. I mean, Gazza struggles to remember what happened yesterday, so to try and remember something that happened 7 years ago, I doubt very much whether he will remember it.
I'm glad you said that. You're not going to reiterate the daft as a brush quote from Bobby Robson, or are we? Andy Townsend, season campaigner and man of the match, of course, here when Aston Villa lifted the League Cup trophy in beating Leeds United 3-0. So there's some great players out there, as we said. Peter Jones from Loughborough, today's referee. And indeed both teams are lining up, ostensibly anyway, with 4-4-2 formations. Though for Middlesbrough, Paul Merson probably will play just tucked in behind Branca and Ricard there. What a day for him, the Colombian who has come for £2 million to the Riverside Stadium. Gordon McQueen went over to see him play, was very impressed, and there he is getting his first touch at Wembley.
Well, I think he showed in the game last week at off at Middlesbrough that he's a tremendously strong player, and if he gets on the ball, he shrugs off challenges, and he's very, very technically good as well. So I think he will be a big asset to the Borough this afternoon.
And Marco Branca, the very experienced Italian by contrast, really. He's 33 years of age, has just come for £1 million from Inter Milan. And another just thrilled. Every single foreign player wants to play at Wembley, and there's no greater stage for them. Well, Di Matteo hasn't got a goal yet, so he'll be expectant from this free kick, which Leboeuf is going to take. Swept out for Lasso, and a little slip there by Sparky Hughes, as he's known. Means that we're going to go through the first minute without a goal. Di Matteo's been impressive in this competition. He's scored twice in it this season, against Blackburn and against Arsenal, which really got the Vialli regime off to a racing start. Here's Michael Dewberry, a young man who's come back in after serious injury to win his place back at the heart of the Chelsea defence alongside Leboeuf. Kinder, the Slovakian. So the Irishman Andy Townsend, whose international career may be over, but he's still capable of getting teams to Wembley.
Yes, I mean, that's the thing that Middlesbrough have. They've got vast experience out there. They've also got Pearson at the back. They've got Branca up the front. They've got Townsend in the middle of the field. So they've got experience throughout the side, and that's good on big occasions, because you need people like that to get your team playing.
That's a nice ball from Hughes. Petrescu returns the compliment. And a little Wise here, the captain, who was so chuffed, to use an English expression, to be the skipper last year when Chelsea won against Middlesbrough here.
Well, it's interesting actually how Borough have lined up. We expected Branca and Ricard to be up the front with Merson off him. Actually, the way they have lined up is Branca is, when they're not in possession of the ball, Branca's up the field on his own, and Ricard will drop back on the left-hand side, and Merson on the right.
Di Matteo in his new white boots. It's nicely broken up. And there goes Merson with that familiar stride of his, and he's playing a good ball in, looking to get Branca in. Yeah, Paul Merson, well, he can play on either flank, of course. He can play up front, as he's done so successfully this year. 15 goals for him already.
That was tremendous covering there from Sinclair. It really was a good ball in from Merson. It looked at when the ball was played that Branca would actually be favourite to get it. But Sinclair, with that tremendous pace that he's got across there and managed to clear it.
Townsend. There'll be a free kick here for Middlesbrough because of Wise's challenge on Townsend. The other thing to stress at the moment is that we do get a winner today for the first time ever here at Wembley. There's no replay this season, as there was last year, of course, when it was Leicester Middlesbrough. So whether it's extra time or whether it's penalties, we're going to have a champion to salute.
We could be on overtime then.
We could well be. Let's hope we get some goals. Here's Merson flicking it in, and chances straight away for Middlesbrough. Neil Maddison had got into the penalty area. His first appearance ever at Wembley Stadium too. Good English player, Neil Maddison, who's been many years at Southampton. And there's another of the same ilk in Robbie Mustoe. Ricard, no touch for him, and there might be something here, and the left-footed drive by Maddison. Well, he got the first goal just a week ago against Norwich City for Middlesbrough, and that's the first real opening of the game.
It was, yes. It was a half chance, just squirted out to the edge of the box, and Maddison onto it very quickly, but his left foot just got underneath it there. But Maddison's one of the three midfield players who is always capable, always looking to break forward and get into goal-scoring positions. And certainly, he got himself in a position where he had the opportunity to get a strike on target.
Middlesbrough certainly started brightly. That might be just too far for Ricard. But a year ago, nothing was right for them, was it? The atmosphere at the club, there was talk of all the star players, Ravanelli, Juninho leaving, wanting to be away. They'd lost that Premiership place, and, it was the wrong time for them to come to Wembley, if there is such a thing.
Well, I think one of the big things is the spirit inside the club this year. I've listened to 2 or 3 of the Middlesbrough players in the build-up to this game, and they basically said that last year the dressing room spirit was not right at all, and obviously Ravanelli had a big influence on that. But this year they're a team. They've come here playing together, and certainly, as we see there that Branca really was offside there, but the referee let play go on. It went through harmlessly to De Goey.
No, there was no handball. So Mustoe flies the ball to his right to Festa. One of those Italians who did commit himself to the Middlesbrough cause and signed a 5-year contract. That's the sort of attitude Brian Robson wanted.
Yes, I think, things like that obviously help, and he's had a tremendous season for him. He's played virtually every position across the back four, and he's even played in midfield for them. He's got that capability.
Well, it was nice for Robson to have all those choices now then. Is there a choice here? Mustoe foraging hard. That time it was Dewberry who got in the timely tackle. It cannot be overstressed how well Middlesbrough have done to overcome that crippling blow at the end of last season, especially losing the likes of Juninho as well.
But in some ways that maybe helped them a little bit in terms of the profit that they made on Juninho when they sold him, allowed Brian Robson to rebuild the side and bring in the likes of Paul Merson, which, as we've spoke before, has had a tremendous influence this year.
Wise with time to deliver a ball here for Petrescu. A touch from the Romanian, on by Sinclair. This time the Italian defender can't get his ball past Eddie Newton. And takes it again. Well, Nigel Pearson, a craggy customer, he fought bravely in that cup final last year to no avail. Now there's Petrescu hitting one in here, and it's a rising try, and that was very close.
Well, isn't it amazing? I'm just thinking to myself, Chelsea haven't even started yet, and here they are, their first real serious attack, very similar to Di Matteo from last year. Great strike, only inches over the top of the bar, and I think Schwarzer would probably have just about got across to it if it had been on target.
I think he thought it was going rather higher than it was. It looked as though it would take off, and it didn't quite dip, but it wasn't far over. He gets plenty of goals, Dan Petrescu, and he's having his best ever scoring season. 8 already. Hughes with the layoff to that man Petrescu again. He's beaten off it very fairly by Townsend. The surface looks very good this year.
Well, you wouldn't expect anything else at Wembley, would you? Even at this stage of the season, it's still in excellent condition.
We're going to see plenty of football here over the coming weeks. It's not just the FA Cup final and the Coca-Cola final these days. Everybody comes here to play. That long ball from Ricard has found Branca, and now Merson. Again Ricard. Yes, there's the auto windscreen shield, and there's the playoffs, there's the FA Vase. Say nothing of schoolboy internationals and hockey internationals. Fester down the line for Merson. Oh, and a lovely play from Merson. He cuts in there, and it required a timely intervention by Leboeuf.
Well, you have to say that Middlesbrough started so positively. There's been no service whatsoever to the front two of Hughes and Zola for Chelsea. And really at this present moment, you'd say Middlesbrough are bossing this game and are causing one or two problems for the Chelsea back line.
That's true. I was just thinking Zola's barely had a kick yet. Wise. And again, they'll attack from here. And Branca is one-on-one against Leboeuf. And the Frenchman, who had a good game in midweek for his country against Russia, sportingly plays the ball out. Well, it's just one of those robust challenges. He won the ball fairly, we think.
Yes, I think so. You know, he's caught him on the ankle there. He made contact with the ball first. He did catch him on the ankle, and that will be painful. But you know, Branca is obviously an important part of Middlesbrough's team, although the feeling's been that since the semi-final against Liverpool, he hasn't really performed as well as he's capable of. So, you know, everybody's hoping from the Middlesbrough side that the big game is the one that you know, gets him going and gets him to the level of performance that he's capable of.
He gave himself a lot to live up to, didn't he? Scoring within 4 minutes of his debut against Liverpool in the semi-final.
That's right, yes. The more you see that tackle in slow motion, you can see why he stayed down, can't you?
He'll have been used to it coming from Italy. There have been a few of those over the years. And he's withdrawn only momentarily, I'm sure. Yep, wants to come back on, having had the treatment from Bob Wardner, the Middlesbrough physio, who used to be, of course, Chelsea's physiotherapist. Leboeuf himself picked up a knock in that game in Moscow, but he shrugged it off, and that's well angled, and Sinclair is on here, and he can lay something on for Chelsea. Well, he would have done, but for an excellent intervention by Vladimir Kinder, the Slovakian.
Well, I think Kinder's signalling there to Ricard, you let Sinclair go there, and your job is to make sure the fullbacks don't get into those areas, and it nearly caused for embarrassment.
Yes, there hasn't been much time for the likes of Branca and Ricard and Gascoigne, if he comes on, to have settled in on the tactical side with Middlesbrough. Zola with a corner kick for Chelsea. Oh, and it was met there very emphatically by Dewberry, and a good pump of the right boot sent it over the top of the bar.
Yes, he just managed to get himself a little bit of space there. He's just come off Nigel Pearson there. You see, he gets that half a yard, gets a good foot on it, and that's a chance. That's one that he'll sit in the dressing room afterwards and think maybe I should have hit the target with.
Yeah, I wondered if he might have been obscured by Eddie Newton going in as well, but it was right onto the end of his boot. It came at him quickly, I fancy. Oh, Merson, another lovely touch from him. Tries to get Ricard in. And De Hoy shows great composure.
Yeah, that was one of those occasions, if he took his eye off the ball at all, then Ricard would have just got a nip on it.
Well, both sides certainly will have been grateful not to concede anything so far. There's nothing worse than coming to Wembley and giving a goal away in the first few minutes, as Middlesbrough know only too well. And we've had 13 minutes of play. Pearson now, who once scored a goal in the semi-finals of this competition for Sheffield Wednesday against Chelsea. What he'd give for a repeat of that today. Rickard, Townsend. It's been worked away to Paul Merson, who looks up. Oh, and the ricochet there off Wise fortuitously fell back to De Hoyt. Vickers, the next to loop a high ball in there. Still the point that Ray Clements made a few minutes ago, that there's been no service as yet into Mark Hughes and Gianfranco Zola. Now Hughes is in possession, or he took it down beautifully and rolls it back. And the save is made from Di Matteo, effectively enough by Schwarzer, but Di Matteo's eyes might well have lit up there.
A delightful take there by Mark Hughes, wasn't it? A good run by Di Matteo there, and Pearson just manages to get a challenge in there, which just takes a bit of the sting off the shot. It's a wonderful piece of skill by Mark Hughes.
Not quite able to match it this time. And there's nothing really there. It's just a challenge that they couldn't extricate themselves from, and the free kick has been awarded Middlesbrough's way.
The game and slow the pace of it down, but Paul Merson is running a drag on the right wing. If they can feed him and get him a bit of space, then Chelsea could be in a bit of trouble down that side. As far as Middlesbrough are concerned, they got to make sure that Zola doesn't come alive, and neither does Dennis Wise. If they can contain them, then we're going to go into extra time, Andy.
And maybe penalties.
No, I hate the penalties. I hate the penalty trick.
Well, it's going to be decided today, one way or the other.
Yeah. Ah, well, it's all ahead of us. Another 45 minutes of action.
Welcome back to Wembley Stadium on the Coca-Cola Cup final, which is scoreless, but very interesting. There's no question about that. Middlesbrough and Chelsea trading blows as they did just under 12 months ago. But this is a very, very different type of match. On that occasion in the FA Cup final, Chelsea had an early stranglehold, and you never felt that Middlesbrough would overcome that. Today it's more like a game of chess in a way, because Middlesbrough have competed so well in midfield. They've often stifled Chelsea, but Chelsea do look that little bit more potent up front. Well, now just casting eyes around the field, I can't see any substitutes out there. Of course, the big question is when will Gaza come on?
Or if he will come on. That's, I mean, as I say, I think Brian Robson will be very pleased with the way his midfield in particular has played. I say the only disappointment really has been probably Branco up the front hasn't actually performed that well, and Rickard hasn't got into good supporting positions. But for the rest of the team, I think they've done exceptionally well, and you know, the two players who haven't done quite so well are not in Gaza's position.
Of course, what could happen, Ray, is that if Branco and Rickard continue to struggle for 15 or 20 minutes or so, Brian Robson might take the decision to put Merson up there and bring Gascoigne on.
Well, he might do, but in that first half performance, Merson was the one who was causing Chelsea the problems down the Middlesbrough right-hand side, and certainly causing Graham Lasso a number of problems. And does he take that problem away from Chelsea?
Chelsea do lead on one front. They've got two bookings to nil. Mark Hughes and Graham Lasso both cautioned in this game. Well, there's Vialli. Looks reasonably calm, doesn't he? You wondered what was behind his decision not to name himself at least among the substitutes, because he's got a terrific goal-scoring record this season. Averages a goal every game and a half. Middlesbrough unquestionably started the brighter of the two teams in the first half. Chelsea are hoping to redress the balance a little here with their start to the second, and it is Zola now in possession for them. Up to the edge of that area, Di Matteo, he'll turn. I thought he was going to hit a shot, he didn't do. And he's now conceded a free kick. He looks with those boots of his as though he's almost playing in pumps, doesn't he?
Fleet-footed, yes. I think he's holding his hands there. He knows that when he got it onto his left foot, that it did open up for him, and he possibly could have had the shot. It's a lovely turn, lovely back heel there. Opens up from there, and that's when he feels he should have had the shot. And of course, once that effort was gone, he's trying to retrieve the ball and actually catches Neil Maddison.
To be fair, his fellow Italian Festa did well to just put him off. Up in the air it goes from Sinclair. Back from Maddison. Might be something here for Branca. Oh, it's Sinclair again who gets the little knockback, and that will have lifted Frank Sinclair's spirits. He made 1 or 2 timely interventions in the first half. Well, Mark Hughes has been here so many times. He's had a bit of a lean time a bit so far today. What with Schwarzer thwarting him on 2 occasions and getting booked as well. Pearson revelling in it. Lasseau manages to bite his lip this time. I'm not at all convinced he thought it was the right decision there, but it is Middlesbrough's throw. Pearson, the captain, decent ball as well. It nearly got over the top of Dewberry. Townsend. They've won some good ball in midfield, Middlesbrough. Mustoe there. Didn't supply the pass he was looking for. And again, it's Sinclair, who's hugely popular with Chelsea supporters. Now plays for Jamaica, of course, as an international. An opportunity that's opened up for 1 or 2 players in England. And here's an Irishman, Townsend. And there was a Frenchman, Leboeuf. Every ball being contested as you would expect. Now it's Merson, and delivers a shot along the ground, which was never likely to trouble De Hoy. But I think Paul Merson's performance again today will have further encouraged Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah, certainly his first half, you know, as I say, he's been the one for whenever he's had the ball, he's looked as though he's going to create something. And you know, he's on a high at the moment. His confidence is in a situation where he just feels he can achieve so much at the moment.
Well, now Chelsea do have a free kick, and Hughes has actually got one out of Mr. Jones this time. He's actually backing into Vickers there, but well, I'm sure the referee's quite sure which way to vote on those occasions. If Hughes scores, Middlesbrough will feel aggrieved. Well, Lascelles complaining that those Middlesbrough men can't count to 10. And Mr. Jones shoves them back another 1, maybe. Which suggests Lascelles wants to get his left foot involved here. Zola with the right foot. Not so good.
Well, that was rather an anticlimax after all that waiting, wasn't it?
It certainly was. And so was that, as Ricard failed to make contact with the ball. Well, Hughes has gone down clutching his face. Pearson, I think, is saying to him, get up. And probably less complimentary turns than that. Well, we said all along it was going to be a battle.
It certainly turned into one. And I'm not sure who's winning it at the moment.
2 prize fighters, aren't they? Sinclair kills it. Then Wise gives it. And Zola chases it. Steve Vickers, another of those who's been with Middlesbrough. Oh, he must have been up and down out of that Premier League and First Division a few times since he left Tranmere Rovers. Sinclair's dancing out on the touchline. Zola now pursued by Townsend, still didn't quite clip it in there, but it's with Lascelles again. That looks as though it might well have been a foul. In fact, the ball only just trickles out. quite sure the referee was waiting for there. Anyway, the throw-in's taken. Middlesbrough sleeping for a moment, and Lasso gets it in, but Pearson's boot sends it away again. I think everybody was expecting a free kick one way or the other there.
Yes, that's that's quick thinking there by Wise and Lasso to get into a good crossing position, but I think Graham Lasso would then be disappointed with his quality of cross when he got there.
Zola picks it up, weighs it, tries to play it through the Hughes. Merson now. For Ricard, who rests it down, and that was a foul by Ricard. Colombian looking exasperated, but it certainly was. Lasso. We feel that the teams are just picking up the pace again. Taking them a minute or two. And I hope we do get goals. Wembley deserves one or two.
Well, I'm sure we will somewhere along the line, because I say that it's too much of an open game for chances not to be created.
Hughes thought he might just take advantage of Vickers' slip there. But, this is Wise. But, he was always chasing. Oh, and he's gone down, flattened by Andy Townsend here. And it might have looked worse than it was, but Andy Townsend is in bother. There's no question about that. And Dennis Wise went down absolutely poleaxed.
Yes, it looks a terrible challenge from here, and certainly it looks as though it might have loosened one or two teeth there. But we remember Wise. I mean, it's just a straightforward clash, isn't it? I mean, it looks terrible, but the two of them are going at full pace there. And again, I don't think there's any malice from Townsend. It's one of those clashes that happens, but Wise has come out the worst for it, that's a certainty. Certainly got an arm in the mouth there, and might be a visit to the dentist on Monday.
Yeah, well, Andy Townsend has been shown a yellow card in the meanwhile. The chirpy little captain is still having a laugh about it. And Andy Townsend's having a chatter with him as well. They're okay, those two. Chelsea have a free kick, which Leboeuf is going to slip down the right to Sinclair. They'd ignored him, and he's played the ball in for Petrescu, struggling to hold off Kinder, and Townsend shows his full value there by making the crucial tackle. Time for the Chelsea hordes to sing and try and will their team into a goal, and Schwarzer climbed above his own man Pearson to pour the ball away. Hit long, one-on-one here, and Leboeuf goes well. Very calm, very lean figure, isn't he, the Frenchman?
He's normally such a tremendous passer of the ball as well. He's the one player in the back four you don't want too much time on the ball with, because if you give him time on the ball, he can certainly hurt you with his passing, with his range of passing.
But he's not been able to drive forward really and propel Chelsea into any good attacking positions so far. They have possession now though with Hughes. Lasso. And England's left back swings the ball in there, but only onto the head of Vickers. Now it's Di Matteo. For Wise. It's easily blocked, but it's seen by Zola, so he was able to retain possession on behalf of Chelsea. Sinclair there scored actually in that game against Real Betis. Saw Chelsea get through to the semi-final of the Cup Winners' Cup. A pensive shot there of Brian Robson. Trying to pass a ball from a sitting position nowadays. Leboeuf, he'll see Sinclair sprinting up the right. Couldn't find him. Kinder. One of those games where you can actually see players thinking, here we are, here he comes. Doesn't mean to say he's coming on, of course, merely told by Brian Robson to just get his limbs warm. Merson, good run, lovely ball in for Ricard. Now then, can he illuminate the occasion? Well, he couldn't, and well, I don't think Ed De Hoy illuminated it either. Put it out for the corner.
Well, again, showed Sinclair's lovely ball from Merson, and Sinclair there really is second to it, but he just has that extra yard of pace, Sinclair, which gets him out of trouble and gets his side out of trouble as well.
He's made two crucial interventions. Now it's Merson with the corner for Middlesbrough. And that's going to surely go over the top. Pester, who scored in the semi-final of the FA Cup last season for them against Chesterfield at Old Trafford. You know what I mean, Ray? I was just saying you can actually see players thinking, can't you, there?
Oh yes, it's you know, it's a good game of football. It's, you know, there's lots of little tactical switches, changes in positions, and you know, eventually somebody will open up the other side. That's an absolute certainty. But no, although it's 0-0, it's a good game of football. It's not one of those 0-0s you think, oh goodness gracious, what time's we trained to go home?
I saw one yesterday. Well, I'll save their embarrassment by saying where it was, but it was a totally different quality to this. And you feel if we did get one goal, we might get two or three. Sometimes you feel that one goal might settle a match, but there's not a feeling here. Ricard through the middle. Can he score? No, he can't. Well, yet again, it's that man, Frank Sinclair, who gets the pat on the back.
Well, again, he's got no chance when this ball is delivered, but he's just electrifying. Look where he comes from, the ground he makes up. He just gets across Ricard down. I mean, Ricard could see glory in his eyes there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, he knows all about the English game now, does Hamilton Ricard. It was a great ball from Andy Townsend. That's a good ball as well from Merson to Mustoe. LeBeuf's the one in the way this time. Well, we were saying there are so many qualities to admire in these two teams. Well, it's amazing, isn't it? Hughes has got away with that. And here are Chelsea now. It's in towards Zola. But Pearson was calmness personified. Di Matteo. Chelsea with a few bodies forward this time. One of them here is Zola. On his right, Petrescu. There he is now. It's Zola going for glory! How unlucky can you be? And Gianfranco Zola almost repeated his feat when he scored for Italy against England last year there. And it was a superb effort. They're coming again. And Di Matteo's going to go for goal this time! Well, that's 30 seconds of absolute magic. If you love your football, what a 30 seconds that was. Zola hit the bar. Di Matteo slashed the shot a foot wide. And that's brought Chelsea's fans to life.
Well, this is a fantastic strike. Schwartz is nowhere near that. He's totally beaten for the first time in the game. Lovely layoff from Petrescu. And that's how Zola loves them. On his right foot, bending there and somehow crashes against the crossbar. But then we see, you know, Di Matteo again hitting a ball, which I think, again, would probably just about beaten Schwarzer, but it goes inches wide. Great football, and as I say, I can't see this game going without a goal being scored.
It's actually brushed the side netting on the way through that one. That's how close it was. Well, it deserves a goal, there's no question about that. Lasso's on the rampage here. Mustoe's gone stride for stride with him. Lassoe shrugs him away. Mustoe sticks to his job, and that was a fair tackle. Oh, that's a terrible clearance from Fester. He won't be punished because Vickers has got the ball out again. And then Branca turns it forward towards Merson. He'll hit it long up the middle. Look at the space on the left. Well, there's more on the right as well. It's Ricard, and LeBeuf is the one this time to get back. And, well, it's terrific stuff, isn't it, at the moment? I hate saying it's 0-0 because it deserves to be a lot better than that. But still, Chelsea are the ones who've had the better chance. They've looked more likely to score.
Well, that's right. You know, attacking-wise, they're probably about equal, but in terms of actually getting strikes on target to try and cause the goalkeeper a problem, then Chelsea are way in front on that one.
He can't come on, that's for sure. He can do nothing about it now.
If he's feeling in his pocket there, so he's got his cigar there just in case they win the game.
Yeah, well, he's played in cup finals, of course, in his native Italy, and in our domestic FA Cup final in England for 2 minutes last year. So both managers sticking with the formations at the moment, and you can understand why, because they'll both be happy with the way things are going. Di Matteo railroaded out of that one by Musto. Free kick for Chelsea.
I just wonder if at some stage in the not too distant future that they might just bring on Middlesbrough. I just think that Branca has not really done enough up the front to give them that threat of scoring a goal, and you know, Middlesbrough might just do that. And you know, all the substitutes, all the Middlesbrough substitutes are warming up to our left-hand side behind the goal, but you look at the team at the moment, you think, well, it's up front. If there's going to be a change, maybe is where it needs to be made.
Yes, Ricard's done a bit better, to be fair, in this half, I think. He looks a bit more dangerous. He's got into good positions, and he's only been foiled by the speed of Sinclair. Now then, Branca can make a name for himself. Here he goes. He's still there. Ricard, he's goal. Free kick was given. Merson was in space on the left and could have homed in on goal, but Chelsea have conceded a free kick for the foul on Branca anyway. Would have been ironic if he'd scored then after what we were just saying.
It normally does.
Well, he was able to look up, he turned, he twisted, and he was finally left in a crumpled heap by Leboeuf.
It's interesting, while this free kick's being taken, Gazza has come back to the bench, and Brian Robson is having a long discussion with Gazza, which maybe indicates that he might be going to be introduced.
They'd have liked him on for this free kick, probably.
Yes, it looks like the pads are going on for Gazza at the moment.
What a roar there will be when he comes on, if he comes on. It's the red flags that are fluttering, as you can see. Chelsea have withdrawn everybody. And as a game, in a sense, it would be better if Middlesbrough did get the first goal, because you could imagine Chelsea coming back and scoring. Or you feel if Chelsea scored first, it might be very difficult for Middlesbrough, who themselves, of course, only equalised very late on against Leicester in this final last year through... they scored first through Ravanelli, and then now a goal pulled back by Emil Heskey right at the death. Well, it looks as though it will be Paul Merson. Once the referee's ended his chat. Gascoigne is stripped for action, but it'll be Merson who tees it up into the wall, and it just eluded Branca on the way through and out for a goal kick. And now listen to the roar. Here he comes. Paul Gascoigne makes his re-entry into the English game. And it is not Branca, it is Ricard who gives way. Well, welcome Paul Gascoigne. He's been away before, of course, and come back after spells at Lazio and Glasgow Rangers. The prodigal son from the northeast returns. I wonder if he can write the final story of a fairy tale today. So he's now a fully fledged Middlesbrough player, and he's just had his first touch of the ball as Middlesbrough get this free kick. There's a grin all over Dennis Wise's face. Gascoigne.
It was one of those welcome back to football in England, wasn't it?
Very much so. So Merson continues to operate down the right. Gascoigne quickly into the thick of things. Well, offside's given now against Branca, although Sinclair looked to be standing 5 yards behind him.
What Gazza will do coming into the middle of the field there, it will release Maddison to make more runs forward, I would think. He likes to make those runs, but it will give him more options.
They're definitely just leaving Branca there on his own up front. It's touched aside by Madison. It's the flying Merson. Oh, wonderful ball from Merson. And Branca, although he took it down and now goes down, there's an appeal for a penalty, obviously not given. What a ball it was from Merson.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, it really was. And yet again, Branca disappointed at the end of it all.
That's a foul. I would think here it is. Pearson on Hughes. And, well, a moment or two ago we saw Middlesbrough in a great position for a free kick. Now it's Chelsea's turn. Just shows what they've been doing on the training ground. Zola country, Lasso country maybe. And it's Middlesbrough's turn to pull 11 back behind the ball. It really has had everything for a goalless draw.
Well, Zola in the warm-up before the game actually, exactly from that area, was practicing 3 or 4 free kicks of trying to bend it in from there.
We shall see. Di Matteo is away to his right and could strike it. So could Leboeuf. It is Zola! Over the top. Needed to practice a little longer.
Well, that was where 3 of the 4 went anyway in the practice.
It's not an easy skill, is it really?
No, it's not, but certainly, you know, Zola has that capability. And he's shaking his head there because he knows he's more than capable of hitting the target from that particular angle.
There's Viv Anderson, the assistant manager of Middlesbrough, on the touchline, shouting out to Andy Townsend, who's the only player near enough to be able to hear what he's saying. They have just left Branca up on his own. Takes it down, squirts away. So that's going to be a touch for De Hoy. But Pearson and Vickers have done well at the back.
They have, because, you know, Pearson's made for Mark Hughes the way that Mark Hughes plays the game, but I thought that Zola's movement might cause the two of them 1 or 2 problems, but so far it hasn't done.
And there is Vickers, and a good header as well. Gascoigne reverses it for Merson. That was a rather crunching challenge by Lasso, but the referees allowed play to continue once or twice today when the fans have been hooting for free kicks. I think there might be one here against Sinclair. I think, to be fair to the referee, he's tried to keep it flowing. He's certainly not got everything right by any means.
No. I think that happens sometimes when you want the game to flow and you do let 1 or 2 little things go, and you miss out on other things.
Oh dear, Gaz has launched himself here. He backheeled against his own ankle, and now he's taken Mark Hughes out. Well, it's not going to be a yellow card for him, surely. Not this early. I mean, he's having a good chortle, isn't he, with Dennis Wise. Welcome back.
Oh. There'll be no shortage of chat between Wise and Gaz, will there? That's a certainty.
Some of it unintelligible. We're talking on the same wavelength, but he clearly wants the ball, doesn't he? He really wants to be involved.
Well, that's what his game's all about. You know, you don't get the best out of Gaz unless you keep giving him the ball all the time.
Dewberry. Hughes didn't even bother to ask for a free kick this time. It's interesting that Vickers seems to have taken more of Hughes in the second half. It seemed to be always Pearson in the first half. Zola, lovely turn. Got that low centre of gravity that enables him to do that. It's booking this time for him. Gascoigne and Zola head to head. And Paul Gascoigne, within 5 minutes of returning to the English game, is going to be shown a yellow card, I think, here. Well, I think the word is inauspicious return.
It's the problem for Gazza when he's so hyped up to play in his opening game. He wants so badly to do well. But you know, he sometimes does go over the top, and his enthusiasm there has got him a booking, which he didn't really need, obviously.
I think it was a cumulative factor as well, wasn't it, from the incident a minute earlier. But people say about Gazza's body language, you can always tell how up for a game he is, as he was indeed in that cup final 7 years ago. Anyway, it's afforded Chelsea a free kick here in another promising situation for Lasso and Zola to exploit. Zola once more, and again he can't keep it down. And he apologises, he knows. Might have been a better angle for Lasso, actually.
No, it gets it up, can't get it around and down. It wasn't even on target, that one.
Would you have preferred Lasso from that range?
I probably wouldn't have reached.
Townsend falls right over the back of Dennis Wise, but he's landed all right. Townsend, another has been booked, along with Gascoigne there. They'll certainly be looking to Gascoigne there. His presence is immense. Sort of struts around. And he's itching to get the ball, you can tell. Well, Maddison did get there and managed to keep it in play, but only to present it to De Huy.
Of course, what Middlesbrough have got to be careful about is not to be obsessed with Gazza and give it him at all times, because you know, they have played particularly well in this game, and it's only been their final ball in that last third of the field that has not given them better rewards than what they've had.
Here is Gascoigne. Decent ball in here to Branca, but his first touch was a poor one. He's rather lucky to get a free kick there out of Di Matteo. Branca certainly, he's a man who's got over 80 goals in Serie A in Italy, but his first touch has not looked too good today.
No, I think if you were totally honest, if there is a disappointment, then it would be him so far in this game.
Merson will launch this one up in a pretty general direction. That was enough for Sinclair to get it out first time, Dewberry second time. And now for Petrescu to advance. Vickers stabs it up there, on towards Maddison from Musto, no free kick. Bit of a hodgepodge in there at the moment. I'm just thinking as well there, Ray, that likewise Chelsea haven't really got Petrescu into attacking positions in this half. He did in the first half once or twice.
Yeah, because he's also involved in that real midfield battle, and he's not allowed the freedom and the space to actually get into those areas.
Yeah, we saw the Zola strike on goal again there, and then that Di Matteo one. That's how close it was. And Chelsea are going to make their first substitution, and it's Steve Clark, the defender, who has got preference over Lowen coming on. Well, we see it. Steve Clark, the Scotsman who's been so long, of course, with the club. And he's come straight over into the left back role, and they're pushing Graham Lasso up into the left side of midfield in place of Eddie Newton. Well, Dennis Wise is another one who always gets into bother. That was Newton there battling with Gascoigne, and then Wise has come in on him.
That's a terrible challenge. That really is a terrible challenge. Here's the battle. Gazza all arms as usual, and just see Wise come in here. He's nowhere near the ball. I mean, that's come out of Karate Kid, that.
So booking for the Chelsea skipper. Back from Merson. Mustoe drives forward, slips it through. Townsend onside, just can't get there. Agonisingly so. So what about this Chelsea reorganisation now then, Ray? Petrescu off.
Petrescu off, but I think, you know, they're going to try and play with three centre-backs, as far as I'm concerned. Is that Clark's coming on this left-hand side, and they're trying to push, obviously, they're so right up on the left-hand side, and get Sinclair pushed up on the right-hand side. And that's the big change. They're going from a flat back four to three centre-backs.
Yes, you're right. When I first looked there, I saw Steve Clark in what looked like a left-back position. It's through to Doy. But it is three centre-backs, and Lasso has pushed up onto the left-side wing-back position. And Di Matteo and Newton still in the middle. Launched up there, a 2-on-1 here, but for good defending once more. Mustoe's getting more forward as well for Middlesbrough.
Yes, well, you know, Gazza's sitting there in the middle of the field. He's not looking to get forward very often. Townsend is alongside him, and as I say, certainly in Maddison's case, he's breaking all the time, and Mustoe is also going when he gets the opportunity.
Zola, which way to go? Slides it through for Hughes. Holds it up well. Wise goes down, no foul. No appeal for one, to be fair, either. It's Gascoigne for Berra. Beautifully weighted ball out to that left touchline. And that's the best pass. And ironically, Merson couldn't take it. I was going to say it's the best pass that Branca's played all day. It's Zola here for Chelsea as the game picks up again. It's Zola still wriggling, and Mustoe now back there to effect the clearance. He's just a good up-and-down job for Middlesbrough, this Robbie Mustoe. We're into the last quarter, though, still without that elusive first goal. Clark. Playing his 411th match for the club, Steve Clark. That's a fine record. Zola has to ping that one wide of Vickers, but it never got to Hughes. Gascoigne. Pearson will surely drift the ball wide out to Kinder on the left. Chelsea looking as though they might be bringing Flo on shortly. He's just limbering up and down. But it's Gascoigne now. For Merson. Angled in there. Wise brings Chelsea clear. Might be something this time if Zola can time the run. I think Schwartz is going to get there all right, though. With Merson down on the ground, it's Lasso through the middle. He's Zola to his left, and he just couldn't locate him. And there was no foul on Lasso. The referee's right to tell him to get up again. Bit of cut and thrust now again. Branca, he won't beat Dewberry like that. And the Italian has stayed on the ground this time. We're having these little flurries of activity, Ray, aren't we, where, you know, the two sides go at one another's throat and then they have 4 or 5 quieter minutes. It's
amazing, actually, because just before Gazza came on, they were going at each other's throats and there was chances at both ends of the field. But since Gazza's come on, there's actually, you know, the game has gone into a dull spell, really, and all there's been a couple of reckless tackles, which we've seen Gazza getting booked for, and Dennis Wise.
Ten minutes to go then. Well, so much has been written about Gascoigne's return. He's sort of taken the focus off other players during the week. He's 30 years of age now. You wonder if he's still got it in him to play at the very highest level. And the next few weeks are probably going to tell us a lot about him. There he is, the first receiver. Kinder. Good ball in here for Mustoe. This looks promising. Townsend is the recipient. Kinder once more. Townsend still able to latch onto that. Chelsea smother the attack and work it away for Hughes to feed Wise. Angled down there, but Vickers, well, he decided not to be too clever.
Watching the last 10 minutes of a game, you don't want to be taking any chances, and Vickers, quite rightly, under pressure from Mark Hughes, decided Rose Z was the best option.
There is Torre Andre Flo, preparing for action, which could, of course, be for 9 minutes or 39 minutes and penalties. And this is one of those games you wouldn't mind it going to extra time, actually. There are some you say, oh, we've had enough of this, but this is not one of those.
No, it's not.
Zola now. Up for Hughes, knocks it down. Di Matteo, tremendous block by Neil Maddison.
Well, it was. Di Matteo's got in some great finishing positions in this game, and he's been unlucky on a couple of occasions, just inches wide, and that took bravery from Maddison there to throw his body in the way and get a block on.
Well, Mark Hughes will play no further part in the Coca-Cola Cup final. He is the one replaced by the Norwegian Torre Andre Flo, who's got a good goal-scoring record this season, 13, including 2 in this competition against Southampton and Ipswich. He's got a hat-trick to his name as well against Tottenham Hotspur, so he knows the way to goal. Of course, he scored those 2 goals against Betis recently as well. Sure. Here he is. Just as tall as his brother, who played at Sheffield United, Jostin. Dewberry. 21 players are in the Middlesbrough half at the moment. And Flo now. I'll take it, he's got a man behind him. So he was unable to feed him, but the play is very much concentrated in the Middlesbrough half here. They've really no outlet at the moment. An important stretch there to win it by Mustoe. And it's got to come back that way because there's just nobody up there to support the Italian Branca. So Sinclair is the latest. Middlesbrough putting a bit of pressure on themselves with this tactic. Flo. There's no outlet for them at the moment.
Well, they can't get the ball and convey it into midfield, or if they have to play a longer ball, Branca can't get hold of it to allow support to get to him.
Well, he's surrounded by 5 blue shirts at the moment up on near the halfway line. And you can sense a bit of stress there on the face of Kinder. Acrobatically done, over the top. Well, Schwarzer made a couple of brave saves in the first half. He's not really had to make saves in this half, but there's been a couple of efforts, one that hit the bar, one that was a foot wide.
Yes, I mean, he earned his money in that first half, but that save from Mark Hughes, that without a shadow of a doubt was the save of the match. But there's been a couple of close calls for him, although he hasn't had to physically make a difficult save in this second half.
And there are only 6 minutes left of normal time. Just to reiterate once more, we do get a winner today. No replay as there was a year ago when Leicester beat Middlesbrough, and that really triggered the horrendous end to the season for them, losing here as well in the FA Cup final and being relegated into the bargain. I mean, you wouldn't write that in the script of your worst enemy. 5 minutes left. Wise for Chelsea. Forward now Leboeuf. The first time he's got this far forward, and still it's Frank Leboeuf. Still it's Leboeuf. How much longer can he retain possession? Oh, maybe he should have had a go for goal.
Yes, that's what it looked like he was going to do. Then he saw Zola, but Zola just strayed into an offside position. I was just thinking there that, you know, it looks as though it might well go to extra time here. And that's something that I'm sure Chelsea won't want to happen, because they've got, you know, a Cup Winners' Cup semi-final coming up next week. And, you know, they'll be looking to try and keep their players as fresh as they possibly can for that big game coming up.
That's right, they have a trip to Vicenza in Italy, the north part of Italy. Oh, again, Dewberry shows his strength. Oh, Wise running a risky game there. He gets a free kick, but Mustoe was arguing the toss, so was Gascoigne. Zola now, Flo ahead of him. Here goes Torre-Andre Flo. Can he be an instant hero? Lasso waiting. Will curl one across there. Well, it wasn't an easy ball for Schwarzer. He had to keep his eye on it for a long time.
He really needed some information there from Kinder, because he had his eye on the ball as it comes in here, and he just didn't know whether he was going to be challenged or not. He's watching the ball, and really Kinder just needs to give him a bit of information. He could catch that. Didn't get the information, so therefore did the simple thing.
He probably doesn't speak Slovakian, right? Not few Australians do. Wise. This time there will be no problem for Schwarzer. Big Australian, of course. Branca against Leboeuf. For once, Branca looks to have got the better of his marker, who is tripped. And I think the referee's going to reach for the yellow card for the Frenchman Leboeuf this time. What a plethora of bookings.
It's amazing, really, isn't it? Because there was nothing in the game in terms of bookings in that first half. And I'm not blaming Gazza by any stretch of the imagination, but since he's come on, everybody's getting involved in situations and getting bookings, which never looked like happening before.
It is yellow for Frank Leboeuf. So a bit of work for De Hoy, maybe. Gascoigne with the free kick. And Middlesbrough committed 5 into the penalty area, 6 now, because Kinder's arriving 2. And it's well delivered, and it's wide. And Neil Maddison had flung himself into that. Well, applause from the Middlesbrough supporters. It's a well-played ball from Gascoigne.
Yes, and he gets a good head on it here, Maddison, and he's disappointed he hasn't knocked it back towards the target, although you see there it's not a million miles away from Nigel Pearson.
Oh, it could have been a cannon almost off Pearson's head. Flo, an awkward header, but he's managed to deliver it all right, and it's 2-on-1 here. Eventually it's 1-on-1, Zola versus Pearson. Zola's knocked it in, too close once more to Schwarzer, who read it well. Merson. We've not seen as much of Merson since Gascoigne came on either. Another offshoot. Well, we're into the last minute. And how ironic it would be if Middlesbrough scored now, 12 months on from when they conceded a goal almost in the last minute to Leicester City's Emil Heskey. So, Townsend out by Leboeuf. We've had a couple of injuries in this half, so I would think there'll be 2 minutes or so to add on. That's not going to trouble the Dutchman. Brian Robson still shouting down on the bench. He admits he didn't actually enjoy the cup final last year. Just the general atmosphere pervading it the Riverside didn't help. And we are now into time added on as Branca goes through, but De Hoy claims it. Just able to keep his footing inside the penalty area. A rather haphazard ball from Leboeuf, though. think they're settling for extra time.
Yes, I think both sets of players now have had a signal from the line. The game's up for 90 minutes now, and let's not do anything stupid that loses the cup in injury time.
That's Vialli, but I think the one person who'll be delighted by that is Paul Gascoigne, because it's going to mean he's going to get 3/4 of an hour instead of 15 minutes. If that's the way it goes. Pearson lobbing the ball up, but Leboeuf equal to it, but Townsend. Kindernow, Middlesbrough, that's moving forward for the last time. And they really have settled, I think, for the extra 30 minutes, the way the ball has just been stroked around, almost caressed. Pearson's pass was picked out. Offside was the verdict there. I'm really looking at the referee to see if that was in fact the end of normal time, but it's not. Well, they're all fit athletes, these, although, as Roy Clemens said, Chelsea didn't really want an extra 30 minutes to go through today, bearing in mind the dates coming up. Nor would Middlesbrough, that they're all athletes and should be able to cope. Zola hits. It looked a very good ball. The referee and his officials saw nothing wrong with Kinder's challenge on Flo.
Well, the fact that Kinder was nearly inside Flo's shirt, being pulled back there, but the linesman over the far side is the one who had to make the decision. The referee was in a probably difficult position to make that, be able to spot that, but the linesman declined to make the decision. Sorry, the assistant referee.
Assistant, oh no, it's an awful title, isn't it? It's extra time here at Wembley, it's 0-0. And well, you let me down, Ray. You kept telling me there was going to be a goal, but there wasn't.
Well, it's not over yet. It's 30 minutes when we might get one.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope we do.
I mean, I just think, you know, that it's been a very good game of football, and there has been chances at both ends. It's only really in the last 15 minutes when sort of certainly Middlesbrough lost their way. Branca got isolated up the front on his own. Once Ricard went off, there was nobody really to get up close to him at all.
England have lost in the final. Gianluca Vialli's been doing his job by talking to the players and telling them exactly what is expected of them. Chelsea have won this competition once, but that was a long time ago, 33 years, 1965, when they beat Leicester City 3-2 and 0-0 in the days when it was a two-legged final. And they were the beaten finalists in 1972 against Stoke City. So it is an automatic route into Europe, of course, so that stresses again the importance of the occasion. Middlesbrough missed out last year. Chelsea have three possible chances of getting into Europe, of course. A Cup Winners' Cup, they could win that. The UEFA Cup, virtue of their league placing, they're currently in 4th spot in the Premier League. And of course through this one as well. So we're off again, 30 minutes to come. And we start as we did in the first half, with Chelsea attacking the goal away to our right. And straight away there's a run for Frank Sinclair here, but he can't control the ball. The thing about Chelsea is their inconsistency. They've not won successive games since December. They tend to win one and lose one at the moment. But they have a corner now. But it is that inconsistency that must infuriate Vialli.
Yes, I would say so. We know that on their day they're capable of giving anybody in the Premiership a game, never mind a side out of the First Division. But they do have these days, and particularly at the back where, you know, Leboeuf, as good a player as he is, and Dewberry as well, make errors which cost them goals. Well, the aforementioned players are up in the Middlesbrough penalty area now at this corner kick.
But again, it was a Middlesbrough head that got to it. Played wide that time by Newton to Sinclair. But once more, Middlesbrough able to clear their lines effectively. LeBeuf now looking up and looking for flow, I'm sure, up there to use his height, but Nigel Pearson has been a rock once again for Middlesbrough. Gascoigne. LeBeuf with a pinpoint ball in to Di Matteo. But he was hounded and he, well, there was never much confidence there somehow in that. He never felt he was sure what he was going to do. Well, the stage really is there for a Gascoigne or for a Zola, isn't it?
Oh yes, I mean, let's say an extra time when the players start to get a little bit tired. All of a sudden spaces will open up which haven't opened up elsewhere in the game, and he just needs somebody with that spark or that little bit of genius. And Paul Merson, of course, is another player who's capable of doing that. But really, since Gaz has come on, we haven't seen quite so much of Paul Merson.
No, we haven't. There might be something here, though. He's into the area, is Merson, and a fine tackle by LeBeuf. It was Gascoigne who prized Chelsea open. It was a good ball through from him. And well, good play from the Frenchman.
Yes, Merson's first touch wasn't quite where he wanted to put the ball. It just gave LeBeuf the chance to get the tackle in.
This touch is from a corner kick. Clark only as far as Mustoe, but Frank Sinclair able to drive it out up to halfway into Gianfranco Zola. A lovely skill. And Wise has options here. And it's Flow. And still Flow. And he'll sweep it out wide to that left-hand side to Lasseau. Di Matteo pointing where he wants it. He might allow it to run through. He'll turn, he'll shoot, and it's into the hands of Schwarzer. And that's just what Ray Clements was talking about, gaps beginning to appear. Gascoigne's found Merson. Can really run at them now. Branca. Still going. There's nobody out there. People always used to talk about the turf here, sapping people's energy. Well, we'll see just how fit these two sets of players are. I'm sure they'll cope with it rather better than older players used to do, probably. Flow now. He's got fresh legs. He's not been on the field very long. Lasseau with a first-time ball in. Tucked away by Mustoe, straight into the path of Gascoigne, but he's confronted immediately by a massive blue shirts. And then when the ball failed to re-find him, it was Sinclair. It's now Zola. Out wide is Wise, and Chelsea have four in the middle, but Wise may have taken too long. Maybe it's a goal. Oh, it's amazing. It's Frank Sinclair, and Chelsea have taken the lead. It's an amazing goal because everything seemed to stop. People felt Dennis Wise had run the ball dead, and he hadn't.
Well, I think that was certainly the feeling. It was a misunderstanding in the middle of the field. Sinclair started it and then went into the centre of the goal. Now here's the situation where everybody thought that ball was out, but obviously it wasn't. Middlesbrough went to sleep, but Sinclair certainly didn't.
Oh, it's what the game needed. It's 5 minutes into extra time, and it's a good header as well. He's really buried that one.
No, it's an excellent header from Sinclair, and Schwarzer did the best he could, but he just couldn't get enough strength in his hand there to guide that round the post.
Frank Sinclair does what he did to Real Betis. It's his third goal of this season. Well, what a one for him to get at Wembley, of all places. You can tell his pal Eddie Newton now, he's matched him.
Yes, I'm sure that when Sinclair came out on the pitch today, the last thing he thought about was actually possibly scoring the winning goal in the cup final.
I'm not even sure he knew when he was playing, Ray, but Vialli there, has he made the right choice? It's beginning to look as though he has, but there's a long way left yet. 25 minutes. And they always say a team is at its most vulnerable when it's just scored. Middlesbrough will aim to prove that. Maddison's header, and that's a goal kick. Well, now they've brought Paul Gascoigne off the bench, and just for this sort of situation, they'd look to him even more so now. Well, that's right, yes. I mean, you know, there was a responsibility on Gazza when he came on, but now there's a greater responsibility to lift this side in red shirts and overcome the goal we've just seen going into the net there, because it's a tremendous psychological lift for Chelsea, and of course a big blow to Middlesbrough. He knows that. Gianluca Vialli would mean a terrific amount to him to win a major trophy in his first 10 games as manager. You'd have to feel for Middlesbrough if they do lose after that horrendous end to last season, when they could do nothing right and lost here twice. Well, they lost here once, they were forced into a replay, of course. Now this is a good move from them, a good response, but I don't think Branco will get there. Well, they're certainly 4 men forward. They've got to do. They've no other option. It's Gascoigne here, hounded, but there were 2 there. 2 too many for him, and the danger is for Middlesbrough that they leave themselves totally exposed, and Flo is in possession for them. If they get a second, it might be game, set and match, and Flo is going to try and battle his way through to at least get a corner out of this, and he's done that. You feel for Nigel Pearson though there, because he has had a towering match. It's Chelsea's 6th corner, this one. And, well, Flo was going in for it, and it was touched beyond Schwarzer by Middlesbrough head.
No, I think it was actually Neil Maddison who got the little flick on there when it was just dropping harmlessly into Schwartz's midriff. Obviously a lack of communication.
The second successive corner for Chelsea. The sense that they might just be in the ascendancy. Clark. Sinclair is in again. He wants a double. And he's held it up well for Lasso now. He changed his mind just as he was about to knock in a cross, I'm sure. Checked, still in possession. Clark now. 3 are still waiting in the hope of getting the ball. Offside's given. Gascoigne. He's fencing for a position, and he found it, and he's also found Musto with Merson alongside and Festa coming up on the right. And Festa will get there, and there'll be half a dozen players in red shirts in the middle to aim at. But it was the smallest man of all, Wise, who got his head to the ball. Townsend for Middlesbrough. It's a goal kick. More problems for Brian Robson. He used to love coming to Wembley. At the moment it doesn't seem so hospitable.
No, he doesn't look too happy there. I'm sure he's mulling through in his mind, is there anything I can do to change this situation? You know, time is running out. You know, there's that Nickelbeck who's warming up yet again, and this time looks like we are going to see him, which, as I say, doesn't surprise me. It only surprises me it hasn't happened earlier.
And it surprises both of us, really. And Leboeuf again shows his immense presence, but Middlesbrough will pour forward, initially with Kinder. Oh, blocked by Sinclair. And the referee doesn't spoil the Reggae Boys' day by booking him. But Beck is going to come on, and it's Maddison who goes off. Well, again, Branca's managed to retain his place.
Well, obviously, you know, they've got to get a goal from somewhere, and they're better having two strikers on the pitch than just having the one now. So Beck will push up right alongside Branca, and it'll mean a bit more work and responsibility for Gazza in the middle of the field,
which he might thrive on. He'll take this free kick, and he urges them forward, and then strokes it into Townsend's path. Townsend clips it up. Here's Vickers. He's offside. And there's no question about that, I don't think. Beck was another one off. Just came back, but Vickers well off. Well, the Chelsea supporters are giving vent to their joyous feelings now. They were winners here last May against the same opposition, and they feel there's going to be a touch of deja vu about the old Twin Towers. Gascoigne's played a lovely ball up here to Merson. That was great stuff. Now then, Branca can make a name for himself. Well, instead it's De Hoy who gets down to make virtually his first save of the match.
Well, it was an excellent save as well, wasn't it? You know, if he had mishandled that slightly, Merson was right onto it to roll it into the empty net, so it really was an important save.
Oh, Newton overdid it. So Middlesbrough regained possession, which is what they have to have. Chelsea can afford to sit back a little bit now, just to wait for gaps to appear when they do try and break. Beck's first touch was a poor one, but he's got away with it. Gascoigne. Nice ball into the foot of Merson, who'll continue, but a tremendous tackle by Steve Clark. And now Chelsea have got the chance here of 5-on-5, and Wise has got all the way himself, and he's brought down here, tripped by Gascoigne from behind. Oh no, Paul Gascoigne on his return. I think the referee's going to take a lenient view of it. Remember, he's already been booked. In the World Cup, Ray, I think he'd probably have gone off.
Yes, with the new rules, he quite possibly would have done, but thankfully for Paul, the referee decided that there was two other Middlesbrough players between Wise and the goal, so therefore decided it wasn't a sending off offence.
Well, might serve as a warning to him. Again, Zola will be thinking of a way to curl the ball around that wall. Leboeuf and Lasso also employed here by Chelsea, and Leboeuf will drive one in, and that would have been one of the best strikes ever seen at Wembley if that had gone in the net. Didn't miss by a lot.
No, you have to say that that Chelsea's long-range shooting has been very, very close to being superb this afternoon. Again, inches the difference between it going in the net and finishing up behind the goalway.
It's a final that could have been graced by 2 or 3 magnificent goals. As it is, we've only got the one to talk about, but it will do for Frank Sinclair and Chelsea at the moment. Lovely little touch there by Dennis Wise. Middlesbrough will want to hang on now. They can't afford to concede another goal in this first period of extra time. Newton. Into time added on in this first period, and Wise will sprint again there, knowing he's got Lasso, and he might go for glory himself. It's a measured try. And Middlesbrough just sitting back and allowing Dennis Wise to run at them could have been punished.
Well, the problem Middlesbrough have got now in chasing the game, they're leaving 3 up the field with Beck, Branca and Merson. And of course Gazza's trying to create things as well. Musto's occasionally breaking, and therefore when the ball changes hands, Andy Townsend is left in the middle of the field on his own, and it's leaving loads of spaces for the likes of Wise and Di Matteo to expose.
This is what they call bonding, I believe. A little bit of a conflab there amongst the Chelsea players. Middlesbrough ditto. Well, that's the goal, and that's his reaction. Well, everybody thought, I think, that Dennis Wise had run it out. He hadn't. Definitely confirmed by that view as well. And joy for the Jamaican. So away we go, and these are the last 15 minutes, unless we require a penalty shootout. So Chelsea are in the box seat. Gascoigne into Merson. Merson almost wriggling through. As he's done on a couple of occasions, he's looked dangerous. And Gascoigne and he are linking up quite promisingly.
Yes, I think Merson also, you feel a little bit hard done by. Didn't get a free kick there.
Wise through the middle, onto Flo. Andre Flo drags it away, goes for goal, smothered again. Now Schwartz has had an outstanding match. To be fair there, the angle was good for him, and the height that Flo hit it at was good for him.
Yes, but to be fair to him against Schwartz, he stood as long as he could, made himself as big as he could, and made it a very small target for Flo to actually try and squeeze the ball in.
Had a good game, hasn't he, Mark Schwartz?
Yes, he certainly has.
Oh, the Chelsea corner goes for that, might be good enough, and it's the Italian connection again. Di Matteo's done the job just as he did 12 months ago.
Yes, I think when we see this again, there was a terrible slip by Musto. It's something you can't do anything about. As he tried to clear the ball, his foot slipped, and it therefore unbalanced everybody else in the Middlesbrough defence. There you see it. It's a ball that it looked like he was going to clear. Everybody thought he was going to clear. Just watch for the slip there. There's the slip. It's over his head. But Di Matteo doesn't miss from there.
It's all over now, I'm pretty sure. And I said it was an Italian connection. It was a Zola corner. It was a Di Matteo goal. And how Middlesbrough must hate the sight of Roberto Di Matteo, who has ruined 2 Wembley appearances for them. Unless they get 3 goals themselves now. We won't count them out just yet, because Musto slipped a ball into Festa here, who delivers a useful cross. Beck's in for this one. De Hoy safely takes the catch. But Chelsea have really bossed extra time. Oh, they might boss it even more now. They don't have to go for more goals. But Lasso is going to knock the ball up here. Might get in behind Pearson. Flo, well, they slipped by the Norwegian that time. Helped Nigel Pearson out. And maybe Premier League class has just told in the end.
Yes, possibly. Certainly in extra time they've looked, a stronger outfit.
And as we said earlier, I think it's around a half-hour mark, Ray. They've always looked that bit more potent.
And of course, it's a terrible psychological blow for them to lose the goal when they did, and also in the way they did. That as far as the Middlesbrough defenders were concerned, they thought the ball was going out, lost their concentration. All of a sudden, the ball's in the back of the net.
Well, you can't relax for a moment against a side of Chelsea's quality. And I'm sure everybody in England will hope that Chelsea go on from here now to win the European Cup Winners' Cup as well. What a season that would turn out to be for them, albeit if they're disappointed not to take the Premier League title. There's Leboeuf. Beck's header. Newton was back there that time, and now it's Zola forward. Zola again. Well, that goal for Di Matteo was his 3rd in the Coca-Cola Cup this season, so he got the first one of Vialli's reign against Arsenal, and it really has been a competition Di Matteo has enjoyed, and he's become such an influential player for them. And thoughts will be turning shortly to the man of the match here. They get the Alan Hardacre Trophy. And it would be hard not to choose a Chelsea player now. Gascoigne will have a free kick out of this challenge from Wise. And he'll look for a killer ball now. As he advances towards the edge of the area, it's Fester who is the receiver. Gascoigne once more. There are 4 Middlesbrough players in that Chelsea box. And the only person, well, they didn't find anybody in the end because Sinclair ducked underneath it. Ten minutes to go. Of course, it's exactly the same score as the cup final as well at the moment.
Yes, I mean, there's the goal again, and so Middlesbrough can just feel a little bit unfortunate that, 99 times out of 100, Robbie Mustoe clears that, but he slips, it makes him duck, and the ball's over the top of him, and the Middlesbrough defence are caught on their heels.
They're on their heels again now as Lasso knocks a ball down here into the space now occupied by Flo. He's got Zola inside just on the edge of the area now. Still it's Flo. Can he tee up number 3? Oh no, with the outside of his boot, Di Matteo spurns the chance of a second goal.
Well, Flo did well there, didn't he? He realised he was up against Nigel Pearson in the latter part of the game and just bided his time, just got round him there and then picked out Di Matteo, and Di Matteo knows he should have done better than that.
Back for Middlesbrough. Townsend, Gascoigne, and Beck allowing it to run. There'll be a free kick here for Middlesbrough. I think unlike last year though, when Middlesbrough really had nothing to look forward to after this, they at least have securing a place in the Premier League to look forward to. Gascoigne here with a free kick. It's a pretty good one, but De Hoy had assessed it well.
Yeah, I think Gazza was hoping that De Hoy was sorting out the wall and could therefore put the ball quickly into the opposite side of the goal, but De Hoy there had realised what Gazza was at and made it look very, very simple.
To be a no-risks policy from now on for Chelsea, I'm sure. They will try and get more goals if they can, but it's not a priority anymore. This man Sinclair is forward up there again. Zola, still Zola. He'll go for goal here, I fancy. He will indeed. It's over. He'd love to grace the occasion with a goal.
He would, yes, but you would feel sorry for Middlesbrough if they were to lose this game by 3 or 4 goals, because they have made it, certainly in the first 90 minutes, made a real game of it and caused Chelsea 1 or 2 problems.
Wise squaring it for Di Matteo. Take it again from Zola. The pace naturally slackening a bit.
Well, all the pressure's on Middlesbrough. Chelsea have done what they've got to do. It's as simple as that. They're in front. They've got a cushion of 2 goals, and it's down to Middlesbrough. Chelsea don't have to do anything more now.
Kinder for Gascoigne. Fester's played a good ball this time. Merson's rolled it up there. Branca. Well, Branca's come a long way to get nowhere, and he's surely fouled Lasso as well. I know it's easy in retrospect, Ray, but do you think Brian Robson will query his own decision on Gascoigne and wondered if he should have started with him?
No, as I say, I think that decision was made on looking at Gazza's level of fitness throughout the week, so I don't think he will have made another decision if he had to play the game tomorrow. I'm just thinking that of the substitutions that have been made, you would think that Flo has been more influential since he's come on than what the substitutions of Middlesbrough have been.
Fair point. Six minutes left. Floated across there. And Gascoigne now. Let's see if he can have an influence in these closing stages. Mustoe, he's worked hard. And Gascoigne knows there's a man free out wide on the left, and he played the ball straight to Dennis Wise, and then he stops to argue the toss with the referee. He shouldn't do that because they could well profit from that, Chelsea. They've 3 up here against 3. It's Flo. He's got Zola up there too. He will reverse it for Wise, and he'll go for goal, and he won't score, but that was a moment where Gascoigne felt he should have had a free kick, and it had been better advised to play on.
Yes, because it could have been very embarrassing for him. Dennis Wise there, he's had an outstanding game. He's never stopped working. He's been involved in 1 or 2 incidents, one particular tackle which I say was which really was out of order, but overall I think, you know, him along with Di Matteo have been very, very influential in this result for Chelsea.
Newton now for Lasso. Ben Lasso in his second spell with Chelsea, of course, but for the likes of Flo here and De Hoy, they can now be looking forward to receiving their first domestic medals in the English game. There might have been a handball there by Wise. I think there was. He will say he was being pushed into it, but I think he knows that he's probably going to be going up those steps again shortly. Well, apparently Chelsea have had 20 attempts on goal today against the 5 of Middlesbrough, so that says a lot. But here are Middlesbrough now looking for a crucial one, and Vickers, and then the overhead kick was from that captain. Marvellous, really. Nigel Pearson, he certainly won't give up until the final whistle. Merson had played it in, Vickers with the sort of stooping header. That was a very fair try from the Middlesbrough skipper.
Yes, it was, and that was, although no consolation for for Nigel now, even if he'd have scored that goal, to go up those steps as a loser again, it's very, very hard for him to take, but he's still a tremendous professional and to be proud of what he's achieved in the game.
That's right, and they are still looking here with Branca. 3 blue shirts around him. Flo is such a difficult man to handle. Oops, and nearly a little flashpoint there involving you-know-who, but it's Beck. Touched on here, Mustow's going for it, but I think he fouled Steve Clark in the process, or LeBeuf. And for Robbie Mustow as well, I mean, he's been with Middlesbrough all these years, gone up and down, and another loser's medal for him, apparently. 3 minutes to go. It certainly looks as though Chelsea are going to be guaranteed a place in the UEFA Cup.
Yeah, and I really fancy them to do well in the Cup Winners' Cup as well. I look at the teams that are left in it, and I can't see anybody who really have got a chance of beating Chelsea on their day.
Well, they've played well enough today. They had a bit of a hesitant start, and if Middlesbrough had scored in those early phases where they were very much on top of the game, it might have been a different story, but that word might again. It's been Chelsea's day since the game went into extra time, of course. It's not that long ago since we were saying it's 0-0, deserves a goal, and Ray Clements did get it right. There were goals in this game. Whether there are any more, we shall only have 2 minutes to find out. Kinder has played it through there to Mustow, who manages to scramble a pass away, but he didn't find Branca. Di Matteo on for Flo, who can take them on single-handedly. It's 1 against 2 here, and Tor-Andre Flo. Well, he's giving Pearson a rough ride at the moment. Wise for Zola. Well, they were queuing up there, but it's just the angle of the pass. Well, I think Zola, I thought he'd just pulled a muscle for a moment. So it's very unselfish of Wise. I think he was trying to get Zola on the score sheet.
Yes, I think Wise could certainly have scored himself there, or had a shot on target, and laying it to Zola, it looked like he might have just strained his groin and trying to make contact with it there.
And what if Middlesbrough scored now? Well, they haven't done, and the referee has looked at that watch. Only a minute left, we can tell him. Lasso, no hurry at all for Chelsea. Di Matteo advances though. Oh, this must be a horrible sight for Middlesbrough. Di Matteo, well, he looked around it off in style. He could have played Flo in probably, but he went for goal himself. But the Chelsea fans are getting ready now to cheer. In fact, that is it. It's Chelsea's Coca-Cola Cup. It's a first trophy as a manager for Gianluca Vialli. Yet another for Mark Hughes' collection. And I think on the day you cannot argue with it because once the game went into extra time, there was really only one winner.
Yes, certainly. So Middlesbrough had their best spell at the start of the game. They looked like they were dominating Chelsea, as simple as that. But then the longer the game went on, the more Chelsea came into it, the more they looked as though the side who were actually going to score goals as against some of Middlesbrough's promising attacking play. And once it went into extra time, then there was only one side in it, and it was just a case of how many. And I'm pleased for Middlesbrough that didn't finish up more than 2, because I don't think they deserved that. But certainly Chelsea did deserve to win it.
Well, as you said, the substitutions that Vialli made paid better dividends than the ones Brian Robson made.
Yes, as I say, when Brian brought on Gaza, it just for a little while just seemed to disrupt Middlesbrough a little. They just got no support to Branca at all, and it allowed Chelsea to get more into the game and to be more confident. And of course, when Vialli brought Flo on, I say he's a big mobile boy who was prepared to get the ball on the floor and run at the likes of Pearson and Vickers. And certainly, he had an influence which Branca up the front for Middlesbrough, for me anyway, never had that influence at all.
I think those Chelsea supporters have really taken Vialli to their hearts over the years, and he certainly vindicated his own decision today not to play himself by the result, and to only add to the folk story.
Well, I think, Vialli has made himself popular in terms of he came across here, he made a real attempt to learn the language, he mixed with the players, he got a rapport with the supporters. That always helps, obviously, if you score goals, which he did quite regularly when he first came into England. So therefore, the fans love him. They wanted somebody to take over from Ruud Gullit. He's a popular choice. It was the right choice, obviously. And now, after 4 weeks in the job, or 5 weeks in the job, he picks up his first trophy. I would think, Luca might now be saying it's all downhill from now on.
Yeah, I'm just laughing there, Ray, because they're all hugging and kissing one another. Italians, Frenchmen, Dutchmen, Romanians, and a Jamaican, I suppose, Frank Sinclair nowadays. We consider him English, but he's represented Jamaica, and he's scored a goal here.
I was just looking there at Michael Dewberry as well. He's got one of those silly hats on, which we've all done when we've been in cup finals. And you look back 10 years later and you think, well, what was I doing with that hat on? And I'm sure Michael in 10 years' time will be doing exactly the same.
Yeah, mind you, the Middlesbrough players will be very envious. They'd love to be wearing silly hats at the moment.
Yes.
Instead, they're all grouped around one another, consoling one another. I don't think they'll actually feel as badly, and I don't think their fans will feel as badly as they did 12 months ago.
No, because as we said right at the start of it, they're in a different situation. They're in with a very, very good chance of being promoted back into the Premiership, which I'm sure was Brian Robson's idea at the start of the season. That was the first thing that he wanted, was for them to be promoted, and they've still got an excellent chance of that. And it's important now for Brian and the staff and all the players to pick up each other now, so that when the next league game comes along, that they get a win in that and really push Notts Forest and Sunderland to get automatic promotion.
Well, they're dejected for the moment. They too have got their League of Nations there. Look at that. There's a Colombian, an Italian, an Australian. But that one Englishman, I think he's biting his lip again. He must be bitterly disappointed. It's another avenue to Europe closed for him. Now he has at least got the Premier League to aim for, but Wembley suddenly has become a rather unfriendly place for him.
Well, I suppose, thoughts in his mind might be, well, this is the third cup final we've been to. We've lost them all. We've been relegated. We're now in with a chance of going up. But is it my luck that we're going to fail at the last hurdle? And, little things like that just might start to go through his mind now. And if they are, he's got to keep those in his mind and make sure he doesn't transfer them into the players' minds and give them a doubt for the remaining games of the season.
OK, I think we can have some consoling thoughts, though, for Middlesbrough. They played well enough here, just didn't have the cutting edge. But Chelsea, with Frank Leboeuf there, really have found some form and some players who can bring major trophies to the club, to Stamford Bridge. When you look, I think there are 8 countries represented in their team today, if you count Welshmen in Mark Hughes and Channel Island and Graham Russell. It is amazing how they've all knitted together.
Well, it is, yes, and that's, obviously it's a tribute to Ruud Gullit in the first place, but also, to Vialli and also to Graham Rix. Graham Rix sometimes gets forgotten, but he has a major influence on the training and the coaching, and certainly I think the players respect Graham Rix and appreciate what he does for them on the training ground.
And I wonder how Ruud Gullit is feeling at this moment. He'll have been an interested onlooker, no doubt. He could have been the manager again with yet another title to his CV, instead of which it's Gianluca Vialli. But good luck to Vialli. Gullit, well, he had the decision taken from him by Chelsea only a couple of months ago. Well, those very happy players are now going to form a line, and they will go up there to receive their trophies. There are other players there like David Lee and Kevin Hitchcock, one of the substitutes I can see in there, who have played their parts during the campaign. People like Adi Maffey, the conditioning coach, the former sprinter. But Middlesbrough will climb those famous stairs first to receive their losers' medals, and as Ray Clements has stressed, it's another sad occasion for Nigel Pearson. Well, Sheffield Wednesday did win, of course, against Manchester United a long time ago now, 8 years ago. But since he's become a Middlesbrough player, it's become a familiar walk, this one, for Nigel. But I think you can detect by the smile on his face there that he's not as miserable as he was last year.
No, and I think, he's an honest player, and he will know in the end they were beaten by the better side. They had their moments in the game, particularly that man Paul Merson. I thought in the first half he was outstanding, and also Schwarzer made a couple of saves which would have graced any cup final occasion. But at the end of it all, Chelsea were the better side, did have more strike force than Middlesbrough, and therefore rightly won the tournament, won the competition.
Thumbs up from Graham Lascelles. It was always an enjoyable match. There were a few bookings, there always are, but that's part of the game. And Middlesbrough receiving a generous round of applause from Chelsea. They've been worthy opponents. And now Vialli moves up ahead of Dennis Wise. And what a roar there will be from the fans away to our left when he goes up there, shakes hands with the Home Secretary, the Right Honourable Jack Straw. The trophy being presented by Mr. Chris Banks, the region manager for Coca-Cola in Great Britain. And an immensely popular figure, as we've said, since he came to the King's Road from Italy. Great career with Sampdoria, with Juventus, but as a manager, a golden moment for Gianluca Vialli. And interesting that the manager is going to take the cup first. There's a kiss. Benissimo. It's Vialli's cup. It's Dennis Wise's cup. It's Chelsea's cup. Ken Bates there sharing in the triumph, the Chelsea German, as the players will go along the line now and parade that latest piece of silverware to go in the trophy cabinet at Stamford Bridge. The 38th League Cup final, the second time Chelsea have won it, but 33 years have spanned those two victories.
I think actually when Vialli picked up the trophy there, I think there was just a little tear in the corner of his eye there. He is an emotional person. He admits that it really, games like this do take it out of him mentally. And certainly, he'll be very, very relieved that he's got his first trophy behind him.
He'll shake a few hands tonight, and I think there might be a drop of white wine.
I think there might be just a bit more than a drop, I think.
And he's paying for it, the German. But he's patted them all on the back. Petrescu there, who was withdrawn, he wasn't actually on the field when the goals were scored. Flo made a significant contribution when he came on as the substitute. Hitchcock, the only player who didn't get on today, the goalkeeper, the substitute goalkeeper, he's had his own hour of Wembley glory there. I remember him as a Mansfield player against Bristol City, winning a trophy here. But one feels for Brian Robson there, and for Nigel Pearson. It's another sorrowful occasion for them in one sense, but they've done themselves justice. And Middlesbrough take the salute of their fans, who've come in their numbers, as Chelsea prepare to go on their lap of honour. Your final reflections on what I thought was an enjoyable final, Ray Clements.
Yes, certainly it was. You know, although it was 0-0 after 90 minutes, it was never that sort of game. There was a lot of good football played by both teams. Certainly in the first half, I thought that Paul Merson was the one who was going to turn it Middlesbrough's way. It caused Graham Lasso an awful lot of problems in that first half an hour. But in the second half, he didn't quite get the service, didn't quite get as much of the ball. I think that certainly there was something spoken about tactically at half-time to get Graham Lasso pushed on to Merson and force him back defensively. Merson and Middlesbrough never really got going in the second half, and particularly in the last 15-20 minutes of the game, Chelsea really were the side coming on to their game, causing Middlesbrough problems, and Middlesbrough couldn't get out of their own half. And once it went into extra time, then there was only going to be one winner, and those winners are now holding the trophy.
Thank you, Ray. Yes, Chelsea are getting to feel very much at home here at Wembley Stadium. They love the place. They won the FA Cup final here last year. They've won the Coca-Cola Cup final here now today. The first goal came from an unlikely source in Frank Sinclair. The second from Roberto Di Matteo, who was the one who undid Middlesbrough last year as well. So a good day for Chelsea. The final score in the Coca-Cola Cup final is Chelsea 2, Middlesbrough 0 from Wembley Stadium. It's goodbye.
Well, they certainly enjoy Wembley, don't they, Colin?
Yeah, they certainly do. In the last couple of years, they've been there and they've found success there. But you have, on the other hand, to feel a little bit sorry for Middlesbrough. You know, they gave everything in the game in the 90 minutes, and then they just, it seems, they ran out of steam. And I would have to agree with Ray Clements a little bit. Maybe it just might be the difference between Premier Division and First Division. And they just seemed to run out of a bit of a leg at the end. And it was an extra time that caught them out. But you can't take anything away from Chelsea. Full credit to them. I know at least 3 guys now who'll be out there drunk, Andy. Nick Jones and Neil Tanner will be off the wall at this stage. Another trophy for the Cabinet of Stamford
Actually,
Bridge.
the West Australian Chelsea Supporters Club have got to do on it, I think, Sandringham.
Yeah, so
there's
well
quite
done,
a few,
fellas.
quite a few little
they'll be celebrating.
happy chappies around Australia at the
Yeah, they
moment.
certainly will.
See, they're in with a real show too in the Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah, you'd have to fancy them in the Cup Winners' Cup, except I would think that, you know, Gianluca Vialli learned a few things out there today. Well, I hope he did, because there was a few things to learn from the game. First of all, Dennis Wise has to get into the game early on. He didn't do anything in the first half an hour, maybe.
Well, it all changed when he did get involved in the game.
Once he got involved, you know, it was like winding the clock up. They started to tick. And bringing on Clark, I think that was a very good move, because up until then, Paul Merson was running the show from Middlesbrough, right. And they closed Merson down, and Lasso didn't handle Merson, there was no doubting about that. But once Clark came on, that space was filled, and suddenly Middlesbrough were running up a dark alley. Then there was nothing happening for them on that right-hand side. The other thing I must say is that when Brian Robson looks back on it, I think he may have made a mistake bringing Gascoigne on when he brought him on. First of all, as I said at half-time, Hamilton, Rickard and Branco weren't doing anything up front for them. I would have put on Mikkel Beck. and
Much
then
sooner.
I would have brought Gascoigne on. But basically, what he eventually did was he allowed Gascoigne and Mercer and Townsend to be dropping back and creating things in midfield, and that allowed the Chelsea side to come forward.
You know, you talk about Sinclair's goal, the first one that set them on the path to victory. It should be pointed out, though, his covering work on 2 occasions against the Colombian were first class. You just didn't think he'd get there, but somehow he managed to get around and cover before Rickard could even get an attempt on goal.
Yeah, and you know, you look back at the 2 goals, and a lot of people will be writing in the press tomorrow morning, and they'll say that they were lucky goals. They were, to a certain extent, because the Middlesbrough defence were caught napping. They thought that the ball had gone out, and Dennis Wise got to the back line and pulled the ball across, and the 3 Middlesbrough defenders were asleep. You couldn't blame Mark. I thought Mark had a great game, because it's not every goalkeeper that plays at Wembley and shines there, because it's enormous pressure.
Magic of Wembley at the moment. It's the feeling that every footballer dreams of, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is. And you know, you have to be honest about it. Chelsea seem to have a bit of a Midas touch when they go there. They'll win. They'll get a victory out of it, and you know, they've done enough in extra time.
Actually, does that make Jean-Luc Vialli the first foreign coach to lead his side to the League Cup?
Oh yes, yeah.
So last season, you had Hullet, the first foreign coach, to do it for the FA Cup.
Yeah, and he definitely, Jean-Luc Vialli would be the first in with a League Cup.
Yeah. What about George Graham? Classify him as a foreigner?
No. He wouldn't classify